Good day, everyone. So, my name is Crisel, and we were going to discuss the lesson 6, which is the climate change and energy crisis. So, together with my co-members, Chini Panaga and Rena Nawa. So, our learning objectives is at the end of this chapter, the students should be able to first is to identify the causes of climate change. The second is to assess the various impacts of climate change, including economic, geopolitical, biological, meteorological, and more. And also apply science and technology concepts to the issue of climate change. I'll be the one to discuss climate change. Climate change refers to a long-term shifts in global or regional climate patterns, so including the alterations in temperature, precipitation, and weather events. It is primarily driven by human activities, such as the burning of fossil fuels like coal, oil, and natural gas, deforestation, and industrial processes which release greenhouse gases into atmosphere. So these gases trap heat, leading to increase in the Earth's average temperature. A phenomenon known as a global warming. Weather. So here in the weather it is defined as a short-term changes in atmosphere. So the variables such as the temperature, the precipitation, the wind, and the barometric pressure. So in a given area over a period of hours or days. Climate. So here in the climate, it is determined by the average weather conditions of the earth of the particular area, so particularly temperature and the precipitation over a period of time. So there have been increasing experiences of extreme weather patterns in the last 30 years. The increase in the Earth's atmospheric temperature, a phenomenon called global warming or a climate change. So global warming refers to the upward temperature trend across the entire Earth since the early 20th century, and the most notably since the late 1970s. Due to the increase in fossil fuels emissions since the Industrial Revolution, worldwide since 1880, the average surface temperature has gone by the about 0.8 degrees Celsius. So 1.4 Fahrenheit. Relative to the mid-20th century baseline in 1951 to 1980. So here in the climate change refers to a broad range of global phenomena created predominantly by burning fossil fuels, which add heat-trapping gases to the Earth's atmosphere. These phenomena include the increased temperature trends described by global warming, but also encompasses changes such as a sea level rise, ice mass loss, and the Greenland, Antarctica, the Arctic, and mountain glaciers worldwide, shift in flower plant blooming, and extreme weather events. So the air pollution from factories, climate change is not usually in the past 1.5 billion years. So the planet's climate has been changing because of natural phenomena such as asteroids collisions, volcanic eruptions, solar input, and the shifting tectonic plates that alter wind and oceans patterns. The planet has experienced long periods of global warming and global cooling over the past 900,000 years. So known as a glacial and interglacial between ice periods. So this event changed the Earth's atmosphere even ever a long time. So that's the end of my report. So driving forces of climate change will be discussed by Chini Panaga.
Good day everyone, especially to you ma'am, Tao Tao. By the way, I'm Chiniki Panaga from PSB 3H. So let's move on. This first part of my report is all about driving force of climate change. So aside for natural phenomena, human activity having also heavily contribute to global warming and climate change. This activity have not only heavily affected the Earth climate, but also intensified negative side and effect of climate change. Greenhouse gases such as water vapor, carbon dioxide, CO, methane of each ICH, chlorofluorocarbon, and CFCs, nitrous oxides, and NO and perfluorocarbon or PFCs such as CF having remained up in the atmosphere for almost 50.000 years. And the rise in the level of carbon dioxide and other greenhouse gases in its atmosphere also increase the global temperature. These gases is a trap absorb heat and atmosphere, keeping this energy for longer period into the process is called in greenhouse effect. So the driving climate change. The driving climate change, human activities significantly contributes the climate change through the release of rainforest gases. These gases include water vapor, carbon dioxide or CO2, methane or CH4, chlorofluorocarbons, CFCs, nitrogen dioxide, NO or perfluorocarbon, PFC, and larger in the atmosphere on thousands of the year. Accumulations of carbon dioxide or and other greenhouse of gases leads to highly in greenhouse in effect, trapping or absorbing heat and atmosphere. So this data or this image and illustration board, the global mean surface temperatures. It refers to the average temperature of the Earth's surface across various regions when examining global greenhouse gases emissions by gas. Different gases contributes to the overall impact. Carbon dioxide from process of oil, the industrial activities is a major contributor, accounting of a major contribution. Significant portion emitting to nitrous side contribute or 16% to 2% or respective, and while a free gases of the make up to 2% as will this break down highly to diversity sources of the type of greenhouse and gases affecting and the planet of climate. The temperature and CO2 record representing in the Bostock ice core data indicate historical perspective spanning the thousand of the year. The temperature anomaly of Celsius C is a spot again in the time showcase. Implication over the centuries and concurrently an atmospheric and CO2 level of ppm are depicted and demonstrating the notable and increasing since industrial evolution. This data is arrived from the comparison of the ice core. Example, contemporary is measured serve as a spelling evidence for upward or trajectory and to the atmosphere of CO2 concentration of recent of history. The Bostock ice core data. The data above is based on the comparison of atmospheric sample contained in the ice core. The more of recent or direct measurement, the figure below the provide of evidence of atmosphere and CO has the increase since the Industrial Revolution. This data is all about the global carbon emission from fossil fuel 1900s to 2014. The provided chart illustration the global carbon emission from fossil fuel spanning the thousand of 1900s to 2014. The y-axis represent a billion metric tons or carbon emitted, while the x-axis is denotes the chronological timely from 1900s to 2014. Notably, there is the discernible upward trend indicating this significant increase to carbon emission over the time. This surgery is the emission aligned with the industrialization of web space and spread use the fossil fuel during the 20th centuries. It's the crucial to acknowledge to the environmental application of this trend, particularly in the terms of climate change, and there are going to effort to immediate carbon emission of the global.
Hello everyone. Hello ma'am. My name is Rina Nawal and I am the third reporter about this topic. Majority of human activities contribute to global warming. These include fossil fuel. Combustion is 49%, agriculture is 13%, deforestation 14%, and industrial processes is 24%. Rise in global temperature. In the last 35 years, Earth experienced in warmest year, the highest record having been recorded in 2016. In that year, 8 out of 12 months from January to September, with the exemption of June, were noted to have highest temperature enter. Rise in ocean temperature as the average global temperature rises. The ocean temperature also rises. These changes affect marine life and biodiversity. Rise in ocean temperature, El Nino. With a change in atmospheric circulation near the equatorial Pacific, warm spell and drought in nearby countries intensify. Next is melting of ice sheets. Ice sheets are continually melting in Greenland and Antarctica and have a decrease in mass. According to the data from NASA's Gravity Recovery and Climate Experiment, 150 to 250 kilometers of ice were lost in Greenland per year between 2002 and 2006. From 2002 to 2005, about 152 kilometers of ice were lost in Antarctica. Next is glacial retreat. With the increase of temperature, the glaciers in the Himalaya, Mount Kilimanjaro, Andes, Rockies, Alaska, and Africa are melting at an alarming rate. Next is decreasing snow cover. Satellite image reveals that the amount of spring snow cover in the northern hemisphere has greatly decreased in the past 5 decades, thereby endangering the biodiversity these areas. Rise in sea level. The melting of ice sheets, snow covers, and polar caps contribute to the rise the sea level. The extension of seawater further inland can cause wetland flooding, soil erosion, contamination of agricultural soil and aquifers, and loss of animals' habitat. These can also threaten human communities with flood. It is estimated that the global sea level rises by about 3 millimeters a year. Next is extreme event. Temperature have been reaching higher level in water climates and lower levels in colder climates. The number of episodes of intense rainfall and flood are increasing, causing massive destructions to communities. Extreme events such as unusually heavy rain and extreme drought. The use of the fossil fuel greatly contribute to global warming and climate change. The global economy consumes energy at a extreme dose rate, especially with a high demand of energy in both developed and developing countries. A recent study shows that by 2010, the rising water temperature might diminish the water supply that is needed for energy production. Given the high demand for energy consumption, power plants around the world will have difficulties in meeting the needs of the people. Around 98% of the world electric supply is generated by hydroelectric plants and thermoelectric plants. Even nuclear energy and fossil fuel are dependent on water resources. Climate change and global warming causes the rise in drought and heat waves, which threaten the water resources for power plants in the world. So this topic addressing that the global warming requires a concerted effort to reduce immersion across those sectors. Transitioning to renewable energy resources, improving energy efficiency, implementing sustainable agricultural practices, and promoting forest conservation are essential steps in mitigating the impact of human activities on the climate. So, a study has claimed that the world's energy production is projected to be significantly affected by the impact of climate change. Researchers from Wageningen University in the Netherlands calculated that between 2040 and 2069, roughly 69% of hydroelectric plants and thermoelectric plants would decrease in electricity production. According to report, power generating plants are dependent on water availability and particular water temperature, which is needed for cooling or thermoelectric power generation. The same researchers predicted that the annual capacity of hydropower plants, station, and thermoelectric power plants will continue to decrease, emphasizing the importance of alternative sources of energy. Given the growing energy crisis, countries are resorting to alternative sources of energy such as solar, wind, biomass, wave, and tidal energies. Energy conservation is encouraged, and countries around the world are coordinating efforts to promote sustainable energy. Agreement and protocols are being made to minimize the production of carbon dioxide and promote the efficient use of energy. So that's all. Thank you.